In this video, we will develop the law of sines, and then we'll use the law of sines to solve a triangle. Now, up until this point, we've always needed a right triangle in order to use our right triangle trig. So I'm going to use this right triangle on the left here to write a trig statement, and then I'm going to use the right triangle on the right side to write another trig statement, and then we'll use those two statements to develop the law of sines. So on the left triangle here we have H and we have C. We don't know this line segment, so we're going to use the sine of angle A equals H over C. And then on the right triangle, we have H again, and we have A. This B is actually the entire length of the base of the triangle. So again, I can't use that in my right triangle here, but I can talk about the sine of angle C is equal to H over A. All right, now what I want to do is, since both of these equations have H in them, I want to isolate that H. So I'm going to take this equation and multiply both sides by C, and that gives me C sine A equals H. And then on this equation, I'm going to multiply both sides by A, and my A's cancel, and that gives me A sine C equals H. Now, since C sine A is equal to H, and A sine C is equal to H, then I can set these two left sides equal to each other. So I have C sine A is equal to A sine C. All right, now what I want to do is get my sine of C on this side with my side C. So I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by sine C. And these will cancel. And then I also want to divide both sides of my equation by the sine of angle A. And these will cancel. So what I end up with is C is to the sine of C as A is to the sine of A. Now the way you label your triangles will determine, you always, whenever you're drawing a triangle, you always call the side opposite the angle the lowercase letter. So angle A is here, and the side opposite angle A is lowercase a. In the same way here, angle C, the side opposite angle C is lowercase c, and the side opposite angle B is lowercase b. Basically, the law of sines is, in any triangle A, B, and C with sides lowercase a, b, and c, then the proportions are true that A is to the sine of A, as B is to the sine of B, as C is to the sine of C. Or you may see it sometimes written as the sine of A is to A, as the sine of B is to B, as the sine of C is to C. So let's use this law of sines to solve a triangle. In the problem that we're going to be working with, we're told that angle A is 28.8 degrees, angle C is 102.6 degrees, and side C is 25.3 inches. So again, our law of sines says that A is to the sine of angle A, as B is to the sine of angle B, and C is to the sine of angle C. And remember that side A here is opposite angle A, and so forth. All right, so now if we put our information into these proportions, we have 28.8 degrees is angle A. Angle C is 102.6. And then side C is 25.3. So that's going to be opposite angle C. So we have 25.3 here. And then these are still variables. Right, so we're going to use this first ratio and the last ratio to find side A. And we do that by cross multiplication. So we have the sine of 102.6 multiplied by A is equal to 25.3 multiplied by the sine of 28.8. Now before I grab my calculator and start doing any of the math, I'm going to get this calculator ready. So I'm going to isolate my A by dividing both sides by the sine of 102.6. So this factor cancels, and we have A is equal to, and now we're ready to just put that in the calculator. Make sure we're in degree mode. I have a little D showing. So 25.3 times the sine of 28.8 divided by the sine of 102.6. Now let me make sure. Calculators are all different, and I think this one opens up parentheses automatically, so I may need to, yep, there it is. So at this point I wanted the sine of 28.8, and I need to close my parentheses there. So I need to insert closed parentheses, and then divided by, that should work. So we have A is approximately 12.5. And this was in inches, so my units are inches. Now you'll notice on the law of sines here that I wrote out that I had two variables in this middle ratio. My angle B I can find because I know that the three angles of a triangle add up to 180. So I can add 102.6 and 28.8. And then subtract that from 180. And I'll get angle B is 48.6. Don't forget you annex a 0 here and borrow. So this is the measure of angle B. I have B is to the sine of angle B, and angle B we said was 48.6 as 25.3 is to the sine of 102.6. So B times the sine of 102.6 is equal to 25.3 times the sine of 48.6. And divide both sides by sine of 102.6. These will cancel. And I have B, okay, and we have 25.3 times the sine of 48.6, close the parentheses, divided by the sine of 102.6 equals. So B is approximately 19.4.